They laughed the first time I stopped. Not a soft laugh, either, more like that sharp, knowing kind people use when they think they've already figured you out. Like, oh, here goes the naive one again. It was late afternoon, the sun sliding down behind the buildings, and I was walking home with my stepsister carrying groceries we could barely afford when I saw him sitting on the curb. Dirty jacket-worn shoes, eyes fixed on the ground. He wasn't asking for money, he wasn't performing misery. He was just there, quiet, tired. And something in my chest tightened so hard I had to stop walking. My stepsister rolled her eyes and said, "Don't tell me you're about to do what I think you're about to do." I didn't answer. I reached into my wallet and gave him everything I had, all of it. And yeah, that was the moment they decided I was officially stupid. Growing up in that house, I was always the extra piece. Not fully unwanted, but never really chosen either. My name is Elena, by the way, and I lived with my stepmother Vivian, her daughter Brielle, and Brielle's twin brother Marcus. My dad died when I was young, and Vivian took me in because she promised him she would. That promise came with conditions, though. I learned early how to stay quiet, how to be useful, how to not take up space. Brielle was different. She was loud, confident, beautiful in a way people noticed right away. Vivian adored her, encouraged her dreams, especially the dream of marrying rich. That was practically a family plan. Marcus floated somewhere in between cracking jokes, doing nothing with his life, somehow never being criticized for it. I worked. I always worked. I got a job at a small credit union downtown, handled my bills, helped with groceries, fixed things around the house. But somehow, none of that ever counted. What counted was status, image, who you could impress. So when I gave money to a homeless man, Vivian acted like I'd committed a crime. "You don't know him," she snapped. "People like that will drag you down." Brielle laughed and said, "Maybe she wants a charity trophy," Marcus added, "or a new pet." I smiled like I always did and went to my room. But that night I couldn't sleep, because I kept seeing that man's face, the surprise in his eyes, the way he said thank you like he wasn't used to being seen. A few days later, I saw him again. Same street, different time. This time he was walking slow, like each step cost him something. I asked where he was headed. He said across town, no bus money, just walking because that's what you do when you don't have options. His name, he told me, was Aaron. Simple, calm, no sob story. I gave him bus fare and he hesitated, said he didn't want to keep taking from me. I told him it wasn't taking if I was offering. He smiled then, just a little, and that smile stuck with me. We talked. Not long. Just enough to feel human again. After that, I started checking on him. Not every day, just when I could. A sandwich here, a bottle of water. Sometimes we'd just sit and talk. About life. About how fast people judge. About how tired he was of being invisible. He told me he grew up in foster care, aged out, bounced from job to job, nothing stable. No bitterness in his voice. Just facts. And the weird thing was being around him felt peaceful. Like I didn't have to prove anything. Of course my family noticed. Brielle started making comments. "How's your street boyfriend Marcus joked about me opening a soup kitchen." Vivian warned me I was embarrassing the family. The tension kept building until one night it exploded. I came home late after helping Aaron get cleaned up at a free clinic. He'd been attacked by some guys claiming territory. Bruised ribs, split lip. I paid what I could. When I walked in, they were waiting. Brielle smirked. Vivian didn't even pretend to be calm. "You're throwing your life away," she said. "While your sister is preparing for a future, you're playing savior to a nobody." Something in me snapped. I told them Brielle hadn't worked a day in 2 years, that her boyfriend was dealing drugs, that Marcus did nothing but mock people. And suddenly, I was the problem for saying it out loud. That's when Vivian told me the truth. Flat. Cold. Like she'd been waiting years to say it. "You're not my child," she said. "I raised you out of obligation, not love." The room went silent. Everything clicked. The favoritism. The distance. The way I was always reminded to be grateful. She gave me a choice. Stay, but cut Aaron out of my life forever, or leave with him and don't come back. I didn't even hesitate. I packed a bag, took my savings, and walked out. No speech, no tears, just done. We walked for hours that night. No plan, no destination, just movement. At some point, Aaron stopped me, took my hands, said there was something I needed to know. I thought he was going to apologize for ruining my relationship with my family. Instead, he led me to a black SUV parked down the block. A driver opened the door. My heart started racing. 30 minutes later, we pulled up to a massive estate. Gates, security, lights. Aaron took a breath and told me the truth. His real name wasn't Aaron. It was Aaron Cole. His family owned one of the largest private investment firms in the state. He had chosen to live on the streets for months because he was tired of being loved for his money. He wanted to see who would care when he had nothing. I didn't scream. I didn't laugh. I just stood there stunned. All I could think was how cruelly ironic life can be. Brielle had spent years dreaming of men like him, and I'd met him at his lowest without knowing who he was. His parents welcomed me like I belonged. They listened to my story, really listened. And when Aaron asked me to marry him, I said yes, through tears that had been waiting a long time to fall. The news spread fast. Engagement photos, headlines. And while my life was finally settling into something warm and steady, everything back at my old house collapsed. Brielle had mortgaged the place for her boyfriend. Lost everything. They saw my face on TV one night. Me. The girl they mocked. The one they underestimated. Standing beside the man they worshipped from a distance. The wedding was beautiful. Simple, but full of meaning. Vivian and Brielle showed up sitting in the back. Regret all over their faces. After the ceremony, they approached me. Apologies. Tears. I forgave them. But forgiveness doesn't mean returning to places that broke you. I walked away again. This time, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. So yeah, that's my story. They laughed when I gave everything I had to a stranger. They thought kindness was weakness. Turns out it was the strongest thing I ever did. Now, I want to hear from you. Was I right to walk away? Was kindness worth the cost? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them. And I promise this is a conversation worth having.